Hey everybody, here John Novello, the jazz philosopher. Welcome to my mentor program, which I want to tell you about because I'm really excited about it. I never thought I'd be mentoring people to live a better life because most of my mentoring has been in helping people play contemporary keyboards and jazz and blues. I've done that all my life and had an extremely successful career as a recording artist and as a music educator. But in 2019, I wrote a book called The Invisible Architect that just came to me one day. And I wasn't even going to release it, and I did. And became an Amazon #1 bestseller in the area of metaphysics. Go figure. And that sort of launched a new career on the side of my music, which is probably a good thing because when COVID hit in 2019-20, the music touring industry sort of fell apart, and I don't think it's ever recovered, at least in the jazz world. And then I moved to the Nashville area with my lovely wife, who passed away suddenly, which was a really big loss for me. Second wife this lifetime that I lost, go figure. So I'm just chilling in Nashville area. I live in Franklin outside of Nashville, and just writing a new book called Beyond the Architect and doing a few sessions here and there. And but I'm really excited about my one-on-one elite mentoring career, uh, where I get to meet with people all over the world, usually by Zoom, unless they're in the area, and help them raise their frequency and create a better life based off the fundamentals in my book. And so I have a new mission now. Yeah, I'm still going to do some jazz and blues and maybe do another CD next year with my band Nice and with Billy Sheehan and Dennis Chambers, which I love. But in the meantime, let me tell you about this one-on-one mentoring program. You might want to consider this. This is pretty incredible. Something I never thought I would be doing. Anyway, my personal desire, my new mission is to help create a better world. Sounds big, I know, by helping raise the frequency of each person. Once a person's frequency is raised, the higher your frequency is towards the God frequency, which I call the invisible architect, which is God, Jesus, the force, universal consciousness, whatever your beliefs are, things start just working out effortlessly and magically. Go figure. To me, that was my biggest discovery this lifetime. Anyway, I figure I can help create a better world, and God knows if you haven't looked around, it's pretty bad out there politically and in every area, right? The division that's going on is insane, in my opinion. But I'd like to help create a world in which true wealth, spiritual, material, and intellectual flows to, through, and from every person in an ever-expanding, never-ending cycle of abundance. It's my new goal. So let me tell you about my program. I'm going to share my screen. Hit share. Not too good with this technical stuff here. Yes. And now I gotta find. Here we go. Let me put slideshow on. And there I am on the right side. Okay, cool. And there's the screen, which says, Welcome to the Invisible Architect. How to design your perfect life from within one-on-one mentor program. So let me tell you about this mentor program, because mentoring is one of the greatest ways to achieve success in any area. Almost every great person either hired a mentor or somebody became their mentor. I know for me, I wouldn't have achieved the great success that I had if I hadn't had mentors in the beginning of my life and all the way through in various areas, from music teaching to composers to people I respected, etc. So let's take a look at this. I've developed off my book a protocol that I've been using now for 2 years at 1-for-1. Works incredible. And we're going to talk about that today. It's called the Invisible Architect Alignment Protocol, which will help anybody in any situation improve their situation and allow them to be, do, and have whatever their dream perfect life is. And what would that mean? Are you kidding me? What would it mean if your perfect life has already manifested and was simply awaiting for you to claim it? And what if you knew the exact steps that would allow you to claim, activate, and achieve this perfect life? But the question is, are you ready to claim this perfect life? Are you ready to manifest your perfect life? Now, what qualifies me to make this claim? Well, you can look up the details on my website, johnnovelloauthor.com. But I've had a pretty successful career as a jazz pianist and composer and music educator. And I'm not going to read my bio. You can check all that out on your own. But back to the question, are you really ready to live your dream life, or have you given up? You're just going through the motions every day and same old, or what? Which one is you? Is your perfect life taking way too long to arrive, if at all? Maybe it's happening, but far too slowly, a little here, a little there, nowhere near what you would like. Are your family and friends starting to worry about your lack of progress, or maybe they don't even care? Maybe you don't care. Or maybe nothing seems to work anymore and you have no idea how to fix it. What if I could help you dramatically speed up the time it takes to move towards your dream perfect life and show you how to manifest it exactly the way you imagine and help you become so successful your family and friends are blown away, like, man, what is he doing? I got to find some of that. And what if I could teach you the knowledge and skills to design and achieve what you really desire? Now, it doesn't matter how many goal-oriented books or law of attraction books or how many courses you've done or self-help this, self-help that, how many affirmations you've done or the law of attraction and all that stuff, which probably haven't worked. Because congratulations, by being here today and watching this, your perfect life is already in progress. You may not realize it because you finally tracked it, the right method, and I'll be so bold to say the right mentor. Now, that's not trying to be self-important as much as I have seen this protocol that I've been blessed with work on everybody one for one. So you wouldn't think much of me if I didn't say, hey, check this out. This really works. I really, really can help. Let's take a look at a concept. Remember that movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray? He played a self-centered, cynical TV weatherman who thought it was beneath his reporting skills that he was assigned to cover the annual Groundhog Day event in Punxsutawney, I think it was. And after arriving, he finds himself sort of in a little twilight zone because inexplicably every day keeps repeating. He wakes up every morning, he's kind of going insane, but he doesn't realize it's the universal consciousness way or God's way or whatever of trying to teach him a lesson, sort of like spiritual alchemy. Maybe he can learn something by waking up and doing the same thing every day, over and over and over again, right? And he's thinking, geez, there has to be a solution to this. What is going on here? Well, it's the same thing with us guys, A lot of us wake up every day, same old, same old. I've worked with people that are incredibly wealthy, but they're bored and they got relationship problems and they're worried about their money. And they wake up the same day doing the same thing. And then I got people that are on the struggle rundown, lack and scarcity and trying to get a better job and better relationships. I call that their personal Groundhog Day that they wake up to every time that they would love to change, but haven't a clue. So what would it mean if I could show you how to do that? Enter the invisible architect. That is my name for God. Because in 2019, I sort of was ordered by the Father, the dude upstairs, to write this book. Now, you might think that's a little woo-woo, but at 3 years old, I was spoken to by the invisible architect. And all of my life, I have had this inner voice, my higher self, speak to me. And that's why in 2019, that same voice said, "Hey, John, you need to pay it forward. You and I have had this relationship. I think I've blessed you and helped you. Why don't you pay it forward? Let's write a book together." I said, "Well, I write music books and I play music. I don't write metaphysical, spiritual books. I'll help you." And this invisible architect indeed did help. And I released it in 2020, 21, and it became an Amazon #1 bestseller in metaphysics. Go figure. So here I am. So, what if you realized you already have an incredible inner power like I was blessed with at 3 years old? I call that, as I just said, the invisible architect, because architect is somebody that designs things. And what better and bigger architect is there than God, who created the whole universe and us, and it permeates everything, right? It's an all-knowing, loving, all-powerful intelligence within us. And it's ready to guide and help us create a better life if we invite it to do so and become aware of it. And in my program, I actually show people how to interact, become aware, and use this power. And that's the secret in what makes my program different, because most law of attraction stuff like The Secret and affirmations, et cetera, doesn't really acknowledge and teach a person how to become aware of this inner power, interact with it, and use it to help design a better life. So what would that be worth to finally end your Groundhog Day and wake up each morning already living and on the road to your perfect life in health, love, purpose, peace, relationships, self-love, money, abundance, whatever? If you're like me, you're probably thinking, "Hey, John, don't give up your day job of playing music. We really like your music." Maybe. I'm not sure if you do. But jumping into metaphysics and being a spiritual guru, that's kind of crazy. And I agree. Are you kidding me? I never thought I'd be doing this. I was thrown into it. But this is real. So again, you can go to my website, some pictures of me in Malibu having a good time playing keyboards, etc. Go to johnnovelloauthor.com to get the details of my life and story if you don't already know it. A famous quote of mine based off my book is the following: "There is a designer, a dream weaver within each of us awaiting our recognition. Once recognized, it takes our wishes, desires, dreams, thoughts, and beliefs, no matter how small or big, good or bad, and manifests them in the garden of reality proportionate to our focus, expectations, and faith." And that comes from my book, The Invisible Architect. As I said earlier, from the age of 3, I discovered something most people never do. I don't know why I was blessed. Maybe I'll find out when I cross over to the next life and go to the afterlife and have a little meeting with my spirit guides. I'm not sure, guys, what you guys believe in, but if there's nothing in the afterlife, then hey, I won't know, right? But I'm pretty positive, given my experiences. We all incarnate lifetime after lifetime to learn lessons, find out who we are. So I spent years studying and mastering the fundamentals that I put in my book, which have helped me manifest my dreams effortlessly and create my perfect life from the inside out. So I have now been tasked and ordered by the architect to help others do that, which I do not mind that task at all, because it's so rewarding to share what I've learned with other people. I mean, it really is. I get up every day very excited. Music for me now used to be my career, but now it's sort of a hobby. I go into my studio and play and write music and jam and do whatever. But I really, really enjoy working one-on-one with people and show them how to hook up to this inner power, this invisible architect, and have it help them create a better life. So there's my book, The Invisible Architect, as seen on NBC, CBS, Fox, and over 200 other media outlets. And this is the main tool that I use when I work one-on-one once a week with Zoom with people all over the world. This is how I'm paying it forward. So again, why am I doing this? A, my life has been so blessed that I feel it's my duty. And B, the more of us that achieve better lives, the better the world we live in. And God knows, as I said earlier, whoa, this world is pretty crazy right now. So there is the book. It became an Amazon #1 bestseller in new releases, biographies of jazz musicians, and metaphysics. Go figure. So what does your perfect life look like? Well, in this presentation, I'm going to show you the path towards designing that perfect life. But what do I mean by a perfect life? That's pretty ballsy. Nobody's got a perfect anything, right? That's true. So let's define what I mean. If you think about the concept of God, whether you think God is a universal consciousness or energy or anthropomorphic being with a beard sitting up in the sky or whatever, normally we think of God as all loving and all knowing and all powerful and all that kind of stuff, right? So your perfect life isn't some distant fantasy that's unattainable. It's a life where you experience greater abundance. Whatever that is in any area, more peace, deeper fulfillment, meaningful relationships, more financial freedom, time freedom, more health, the ability to create whatever resonates within your essence. A perfect life can be reduced, therefore, in my opinion, to one word: abundance. Abundance in any and all areas. So, your next step, take a moment. This is a little assignment. Let me get something from my throat here. Take a moment to write down all the areas of your life you would want to transform. In other words, be your best self ever, greater peace of mind, self-love, financial and time freedom, better relationships, better health, meaningful career, better job, or just more joy and happiness in your daily life, whatever it is. I had one guy that's completely wealthy. His answer to this question was, nobody hit me up for money anymore. He was so paranoid that he wouldn't trust any relationship because as soon as they found out he was extremely wealthy, everything went to hell in a handbasket. I can understand that. Now, I've never been that wealthy. I've been pretty well off, but not as wealthy as this guy is. So here's the 3 paths forward to think about. Continue on your own, doing whatever you're doing, whatever principles, experience you're using. That's producing whatever results. Maybe you're doing fantastic. Maybe you're moving slow, not at all. You're struggling. I'm not sure. We find that out when we have my life strategy session if you desire to check out my mentoring. Number 2, could get my book, which is the cheapest way to go, because I'm pretty expensive and proud of it. Because I deliver high quality service. I'm the kind of guy that likes to find the best in any area and hire them. Remember when I studied martial arts, I ended up studying from Bruce Lee's partner, Danny Inosanto. He was very expensive. And when I get a car, I'd like to get the best car I can. Best teachers, I'm into the best food, the best everything. Anyway, the third path forward would be to directly work with me one-on-one, and I'll speed up your process towards your dream perfect life because I will show you how to interact with the invisible architect and apply the fundamentals in my book that made it an Amazon #1 bestseller. And I've eventually trademarked this protocol called the Invisible Architect Alignment Protocol, which is exactly what it sounds like. Once I show you how to interact and align and resonate with this amazing power that created the universe and us and you and me, well, if you could hook up with that power, don't you think you and that power together could create a perfect life? Of course. So the choice is yours. Whatever path you select, stay doing what you're doing. Get the book and apply the principles on your own. Many people do that. And even those people usually eventually call me and want to speed up their process. So let's take a look at this. So how are we going to get to your dream life? Well, on the left side, there's potentially where you may be at. That's your personal Groundhog Day. That guy that's like, yeah, I'm frustrated. I don't have abundance. I got abundance in a couple areas, but many of the areas aren't. Things are moving too slow. I want to go to the other side. That guy that's high-fiving and going, yeah, baby. How am I going to get there? Well, with one-on-one mentoring and applying the principles in the invisible architect, I can show you how to move towards that total life of abundance by hooking up with the invisible architect, this power, and applying the invisible architect alignment program, which is the be, do, have manifestation formula. Talk about later. So, question, guys, why not achieve these abundances in this perfect life? Why wouldn't you? What's stopping you? There's no reason not to. I haven't run into anybody yet that says, I'd rather stay struggling. Most people just don't believe it's possible anymore. They're jaded. Or they don't have a way to do it. And they've tried a billion other ways. So how do you design and achieve this perfect life? Well, in my opinion, the best way is to find a competent mentor who's already achieved it and, more importantly, has helped others. I know a lot of people that are doing incredible, but they couldn't mentor their way out of a paper bag. I've run into incredible jazz pianists in my trek to become a great jazz pianist. Some of them played great, but they couldn't teach. They had no sequential ability. They did not know how to teach people. That's an art unto itself. Napoleon Hill, the great self-help author, said, deliberately seek the company of people who influence you to think and act on building the life you desire. Highly agree with that. So mentoring, the concept. What is mentoring? Coaching, guidance, support, motivation, accountability, etc. Look at all these incredibly successful people. Bill Gates, apparently Ed Roberts, who I don't know, was one of his mentors. Oprah, Maya Angelou. Beethoven, one of my favorite. Apparently his mentors were Mozart and Haydn. Elon Musk, Jim Cantrell, Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson, John Novello, hey, that's me. Basil Ronzitti was my first teacher and mentor who inspired my whole career. Prince, Pepe Willie, Mother Teresa, Father Celeste, John F. Kennedy. Some people don't even know who that is if you're 25 years old, maybe. Ted Sorensen, Warren Buffett, the investor, Benjamin Graham, Eckhart Tolle, wrote an incredible book, by the way, The Power of Now. Joseph Schneider Franken, what a name, huh? Joe Montana, one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time. Bill Walsh. Oscar Peterson, one of the greatest jazz pianists, and indirectly one of my mentors. He inspired my career. But look who inspired his career, Art Tatum, who was a monster. The story is Oscar was growing up in Canada and becoming a little cocky because he was blessed with a lot of talent. And his father decided to take him down a notch and played him a record of Art Tatum. And Oscar said, well, that's not fair. That's two piano players. And his father said, I hate to tell you this, but that's one guy. Apparently, the story is, according to Oscar himself, he quit playing for 3 months. I don't blame him. I try not to listen to Art Tatum because of that. Paul McCartney, says John Mayo. So, and all great athletes usually have mentors and coaches. And, there's a reason for that. Because it's great to get outside yourself and have objective expertise help you, right? So, to mentor or not to mentor? Let's go through this. When the student is ready, the mentor appears. It's an interesting datum. Maybe you're wondering if you'll ever move past those areas of lack, those undesirable areas. Or maybe you're afraid you're stuck in your own personal Groundhog Day like Jim Murray, waking up every day to the same BS. Trust me, I know that feeling. I call it the struggle rundown. I've been there, but I found a way out, and I don't want you to go through it alone. That's why I believe you should hire a mentor, because every successful achiever had one. Someone who helped them see what they couldn't see and rise beyond their own self-imposed unknowingly limits. The right mentor doesn't just guide you, they transform you. And if this message resonates, maybe, just maybe, that mentor could be me. Let's talk about why. So there's a picture of a mentor going upstairs with a hand reaching out, kind of showing the person what his next step is. So let's not wait for that perfect moment. Let's make this current moment perfect. Again, as I asked earlier in this presentation, are you ready to design and live your perfect life? Or keep replaying the same one every day? Because you can do this without fear, frustration, and limits. It's time to stop watching, sitting on the sidelines, and start creating your perfect life, because it's waiting for you. Trust me. The only question is, are you ready? So what are we covering today? We're covering the keys to designing your perfect life so you can knowingly make progress every day towards achieving it. How would that feel? Would that be of value to you? Enter the invisible architect. Here's a few quotes I put together. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a spiritual guru who wrote an incredible couple books lately that I read. There's an invisible field of energy, which I call, by the way, the invisible architect, and information that exists beyond this three-dimensional realm of space and time, and that we have access to it. That's the most important part, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Dr. Wayne Dyer, you'll see it when you believe it. Matthew 7:7, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you shall find it. Knock and the door will be opened to you. Rumi, the universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are. By the way, I'm writing a new book called Beyond the Architect, which gets into that particular concept. And that's why my radio show is called As Within, Without. And that's why my mentor program says how to design your perfect life from within. Albert Einstein, imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. God, I love that quote. Eckhart Tolle, we talked about earlier. You are the universe expressing itself as a human for just a little while. Last, Buddha. What you think you become, what you feel you attract, and what you imagine you create. So the reverse corollary of that would be you better really supervise what you think and what you feel and what you imagine, because you're going to become that whether you like it or not. All right, question. Isn't it time to end your personal Groundhog Day and finally wake up to a perfect life in motion? Doesn't happen instantly, but in motion, which is what I help people do pretty quickly, by the way. And the answer is you can. All it takes is learning how to activate your inner power, the creative force I call the invisible architect, that I was blessed with at 3 years old. I heard a voice and it said, point to that TV. And there was a musician on the TV. I didn't know what the heck was going on. The voice was so strong. I just pointed to the TV and my parents said, oh, look at little Johnny wants to play music, play the piano. And they started, now think about that, that cosmic whisper started my whole career. I probably wouldn't have became a musician had that not happened. So to me, that's not luck. That's a synchronicity. So there's where I come in. All it takes is learning how to activate and interact with this inner power, which I've become quite expert at. As your one-on-one mentor, I'll show you exactly how to align, create, and start living the life that you were meant for. I mean, what's that worth? Are you kidding me? If that's not exciting and worth, then I wouldn't want to work with you until you're ready, because you have to be at need of change awareness wise. If you're completely satisfied with where you are, it means it means I may want to know what you did to get there. Maybe your methodology is better than mine, but in most cases, people have just given up and they're just distracted, living paycheck to paycheck and going to work and watching TV and listening to the news and eating and going to bed. They're distracted by regular life's challenges and haven't decided that they could raise their frequency and go after a better life. So if you're sincere about doing the inner work that is necessary and aligning with the principles that I can show you from my book, The Architect, that invisible, all-loving, all-powerful, all everything energy that permeates us in the universe, the architect and I guarantee your transformation. In other words, you show up, do the work, stay aligned. Trust me, it's like 2 + 2 = 4. You will get on the road to achieving your perfect life. So, this is my personal testimony. Everything I've shared with you so far, I live and breathe and have applied to myself and many, many, many others. The principles in my book aren't theories, they're not hypotheses. They're the exact tools I used and still use to design and achieve my perfect life as a renowned jazz pianist, composer, and best-selling author. Over the years, I've invested more than 30, probably more like 40,000 hours now, mentoring others, helping people from all walks of life align with this power, break through their limitations, and create extraordinary progress. And now I'm paying it forward. It's my mission to guide others to doing the same and help create a better planet. So if you're ready to step into the next level of your life and become the best version of yourself possible, I'm ready to help you get there. Now, this is important. There's 8 milestones to achieve that prevent people from achieving their perfect life. I discovered this the hard way. Part 1, I'll work with you through these 8 milestones that completely rewire, retrain, and reboot so you can think, feel, and act and manifest like you should. Part 2, milestone 8, is the be, do, have manifestation formula that I talked about later. So part 1 is the 7 milestones, and part 2 is the application to your life. This is where everything clicks, where you break free from your personal Groundhog Day, dissolve scarcity, and finally start living the life you were meant to live, that deep down inside you know is there. Your perfect life isn't a dream. It's a decision. So let's look at these 8 milestones. This is the syllabus to the course, basically. Milestone 1 that we need to achieve, the most important, is you need to gain awareness of this power. What is the invisible architect? The who and what? This true inner power we all have. 2, you must understand that everything is energy, and like energy attracts like energy. You probably heard that before. 3, third milestone is, I will show you the difference between your thinking thought universe and the universe of reality, the physical universe, because they are different. The physical universe is reality, but reality is created from your inner world, which is your thought universe. So there's a big difference between the thought universe and the physical universe. But in order of importance, you must understand and clarify and get your thought universe focused in order to start creating your ideal perfect life in the physical universe. Number 4, we will learn that the architect knows itself by expressing itself through each of us. Now, this blew me away because I grew up thinking, well, God is everything. It doesn't need to learn anything. But imagine if this unbelievable power even grows itself by expressing its power and perfection through each one of our desires. Once we understand that, boy, that is a game changer. Number 5, this is crucial. I had a confusion on this. I was always I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to be strong, I got to I, which is a very narcissistic sort of viewpoint on manifestation. What if it's the opposite of that? What if we're only the distributor of the power, but the power itself, the invisible architect, that's the power that designs our life? Well, think about it. If indeed God, the invisible architect, the universal consciousness, the force, whatever you think, designed the whole universe and keeps it in equilibrium and functioning and created us, why would it have trouble getting you a better job or helping you make more money or have a better relationship? Nah, it wouldn't have any problem whatsoever. So once you realize that, you don't need to do the heavy lifting. All you need to do is focus your inner world in your desire and delegate to the architect to do the heavy lifting. And that's where most of the law of attraction programs fail, because it's I am wealthy, I am healthy, I have better relationships, etc. No, it's not I. It's one thing to have a desire, but let the architect do the heavy lifting. You follow? We'll talk more about that. Number 6 milestone to achieve is for the invisible architect to do its magic. We talked about this earlier in the presentation. You must be ready. That's why I asked that question 3 times. And since we have free will, you must invite it to do so. The architect's just not going to go, hey, John, don't worry about everything. I'm just going to go bless you and you're going to be your perfect self. That would be no fun. There'd be no growth. So you have to invite it. You have to be ready. That's milestone number 6 to achieve. And milestone 7 is you must know and believe that this invisible architect is the supreme cause of everything. Because if you don't believe that, we're dead in the water. My whole program, the Invisible Architect Alignment Program, protocol, I should say, is to delegate all the manifestation and ideal situations you desire to the architect so it can help us. It's a co-creation partnership. You follow? So you must know and believe that this architect can do anything. And that's called faith. And there's a way to develop that faith. Once these first 7 milestones are achieved, which is the first part of my mentorship, how long does that take? Well, it depends. I've had some people do it in 3 days that work with me intensively, 7, 8 hours a day. Most people work an hour a week. Probably take 2 or 3 months. And then we start working on hands-on practical applications to your life and apply the be, do, have manifestation formula. All right? So, not achieving all of these critical milestones that I just discussed is the reason why people don't manifest their desires. Because they don't know these 8 reasons. So they got a little bit here, a little bit there, but they haven't achieved these 7 milestones, which are critical, let alone don't really know the be, do, have manifestation formula. Even if they know a little bit without a mentor, it is extremely hard to apply. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be a salesman. I've seen people just buy my book and apply this stuff on their own. But in general, without accountability and without expert guidance, it's harder and a lot slower. So these milestones are critical to achieve. So here's an invitation to go deeper. If what you've heard today resonates at all, if you feel that pull toward aligning with the architect and stepping into your real power, your highest self, and you want to explore working with me one-on-one, then let's get going. Together, we will reveal the hidden blocks holding back your abundance, apply the spiritual mechanics that I just discussed as far as the 8 milestones, partner with the architect. That's the real power. I'll show you how to become aware of and interact and partner so a co-creation starts happening. And then we'll start designing a personalized roadmap for lasting, sustainable transformation. This isn't about quick fixes or wishful thinking. It's about mastering the art and science of conscious creation, developing the mindset, skill set, and energetic alignment to co-create with the architect's intelligence within you. Do you see how reread. Do you see how valuable it would be to have a mentor speeding up your process and helping you achieve these 8 critical milestones? Every high performance person knows this truth. No 2 people have the same goals. Therefore, I do not apply group mentoring. To design your perfect life, I need to understand exactly where you are, what drives you, and what's holding you back. Only then can we build a strategy that works. That's why I work exclusively one-on-one. Group mentoring is very difficult and rarely works. If you're serious about mastering your mindset, maximizing your potential, and designing your perfect life, this is where it starts with one-on-one mentoring. So here's your 2 major paths forward. Option 1, self-guided transformation. Apply the principles and strategies from my book, The Invisible Architect, at your own pace. Extremely cheap, $9 or $10 to get the book. Many people create profound change working this way. And let me know. But even those people, usually after a while, call me back and want to speed up their process. Option 2, the best, is personalized one-on-one mentoring. If you're ready to accelerate your transformation with personalized guidance, apply to work with me directly. Together, we'll apply the Invisible Architect alignment protocol to your specific circumstances, addressing your unique blocks and opportunities every step of the way. Both paths are valid. Choose what aligns with where you are now. Of course, you can continue doing what you're doing, and you're probably not going to move any further because if what you're doing was working, you'd be progressing, right? So let's be honest. Nothing changes, nothing changes. Every day you wait, you're losing time, money, energy, and the opportunity. Option 2 is for action takers, the ones who refuse to settle, who know they're meant for more, and who are ready to make it happen now. So stop waiting for someday. Decide, commit, take control. Your perfect life starts the moment you choose it. Choose option 2 if you really want to speed up and eventually achieve your dream perfect life. So let's take a look at this. Your present life, your personal Groundhog Day, kind of a nightmare. Things are repeating over and over and over again. Future life is your perfect dream self. How are you going to get there? Reviewing this through expert one-on-one mentoring and through interacting with the power, the invisible architect. Now, I was blessed at 3 years old, so I'm actually very psychic. Show you how psychic I am. I don't really call it psychic. This is the architect communicating to me. In 2001, my first girlfriend emailed me. This is in my book, by the way, JohnNovelloAuthor.com, my incredible psychic story. She emailed me and said, "Hey, John, it's Barb. Barb Simpson, remember me from 36 years ago? I was your first girlfriend. I said, yeah, Barb. She didn't know I had just lost my first wife to breast cancer. So it was a breath of fresh air. We started talking. I don't know how long it was, a few weeks later or something. She said, hey, I'd like to come out and see you. She lived in Virginia. I lived in LA. So she booked a flight in LA. Well, about 5 or 6 days before her flight, the invisible architect said, John, something's wrong with that flight and that day. And I went, really? Now you got to realize I trusted the architect and that voice because at 3 years old, it told me to be a musician. And you'll see the story in my book. I've got about 30 or 40 miraculous stories. So I trusted the architect implicitly for all the things that had guided me for many, many years. And so when it said there's something wrong, I called Barb up. I said, hey, you need to change that flight. She thought I was crazy. I had to yell at her. She eventually did. And to make a long story short, guess what? That was 9/11. She was on flight 77 out of Dulles. And she changed it to a few days later. And if I hadn't followed my inner voice, I would have lost my potential second wife because she flipped out when she realized that that was the flight. And of course, if that wasn't something for me to realize that she's probably my next wife, nothing would be. So anyway, very shortly soon after, I married her and had an incredible, incredible relationship with. So how's that for a story? You think that's an accident? No, no, no. So if you'd like me to be your elite perfect life mentor, book your free life strategy Zoom session now. Got nothing to lose. You can test drive my mentoring for free, about a 45-minute Zoom call, and get a free book. I mean, come on. What do you got to lose, huh? To book that life strategy session, go to go.johnnovelloauthor.com/booking. Go.johnnovelloauthor.com/booking. Okay? To apply to my mentoring program, take action and book that free obligation, no obligation, life strategy Zoom session and receive that free book. The Invisible Architect, How to Design Your Perfect Life from Within. Your perfect life awaits your decision. So again, that's my Invisible Architect mentor program. I hope you book that call so we can have a life-changing strategy call. In the meantime, here's a prayer that I say to everybody. Perfect life within me, come forth into existence and express your perfection through me of that which I am and lead me ever into the paths of perfection, causing me to always and only see the good. And by this process, the soul shall be illumined, acquainted with God, the invisible architect, and shall be at peace. Amen. And until then, flourish. Ciao.